This video presentation has been classified by the ABC as M. It contains material that is not recommended for persons under 15 years.
As well as this vodcast, you can watch Good Game on ABC2 every Tuesday night at 8:30 or download it at abc.net.au/goodgame.
Hello and welcome to Good Game, the show for gamers, by gamers.
I'm Junglist.
And I'm Barjo.
This week we're reviewing games from opposite ends of the development spectrum.
Meet the Robinsons, a Disney game based on the film, is a highly produced multi-platform puzzle solver set in the future.
And Mountain Blade, a game made from a Turkish team of two, is an RPG set in medieval times.
We go behind the scenes at Auron, a Brisbane-based game development company, and we look at their MMO, Fury.
And we talk to the developer of World in Conflict, an RTS that rewrites history in a scenario in which the Cold War never ended.
And keeping things chilly, the Doc gets a lesson in overclocking from the Australian champion.
But first, here's gamer news.
Good game! Many PS3 owners are helping to find a cure for some common diseases, such as Alzheimer's, cancer, and Parkinson's disease. Stanford University's Folding at Home project links PS3s together to form a supercomputer. The team at the university have been able to perform simulations that would usually take a year in a matter of weeks using the linked consoles. Over 250,000 PS3 users have signed up for the project, contributing nearly 400 teraflops of computing power.
The Cyber Athlete Professional League in the US has announced that Fear for the 360 and World in Conflict will be competitive games in its world tour. Sierra, producers of both games, have signed up as major sponsors of the league. No mention has yet been made of traditional CPL games such as Counter-Strike or Warcraft 3.
Creator of Mario and Zelda, Shigeru Miyamoto, has been nominated for Time magazine's list of 100 most influential people. At the time of recording, he was placed number 5, with only 3 days of voting to go. Comedian Stephen Colbert tops the list, with Korean singer Rain taking the second spot. It's the first time Mr. Miyamoto has made the annual list.
Key developers from some of the most popular MMOs, including World of Warcraft, EVE Online, EverQuest, and Ultima Online, have formed a new game production company named Colony. The team of 10, led by Michael Wallace, will be working on a sci-fi space-themed game with a new IP that will feature a dynamic living world, non-linear story with a lot of history. The title of the game has yet to be announced and is due for launch towards the end of 2009. Can you remember this game? It features hilarious gnomes that visit you in the night. Answer at the end of the show. Good game!
I just need one more person to finish my collection. Someone who's suave, debonair, and has rock star good looks. To the time machine!
Badjo, I think you've been meeting the Robinsons all weekend, haven't you?
I have, Jung. I've been disassembling my way through this robot-shocking, puzzle-solving, ant-annihilating adventure that is Meet the Robinsons.
You take control over Wilbur Robinson as he attempts to recover a stolen time machine from the man in the bowler hat. The story is colorfully told with quirky characters and witty dialogue.
Find my teeth, and then we'll talk about that doohickey. Meanwhile, I'll search the peanut butter.
Right! I'll go check the music room.
Wilbur has to solve a range of puzzles, from finding a new component to get a new gadget, to rescuing his grandfather's teeth, which have been hijacked by a group of singing frogs.
All right, Frankie. Walk over the teeth.
Hey! Oh, strawberries.
Yeah, this one's definitely for the kids, and fans of the movie will enjoy interacting with the characters. It's coming out on pretty much every platform, but you were playing the Wii version. How did you find that?
I have been. Graphically speaking, it looks pretty good on the Wii. There's only a tiny bit of slowdown when you enter a particularly large room, but it doesn't really affect the gameplay.
We had our hands on the 360 version as well, and it runs smoother overall, but it's pretty much the same game.
The Wiimote did drive me a little bit crazy though, Jung. You know, you use the left nunchuck to move around and use the Wiimote to look at your view and also to aim at your enemies, but it's a bit dizzying at times. sometimes. There's almost too much move. Now, Junk, you've been playing the DS version as well. What did you think of that?
The DS port looked graphically good at first, but in the end it was a bit too samey and it was really hard to figure out where to go.
I agree. It is a little overcomplicated for the type of game it is. It needs a bit more direction on the DS, I think.
In between copious amounts of sliding, climbing, and puzzle solving, there are fun little mini-games to break it up, such as dodgeball and hamster-like sphere obstacle courses.
But generally the puzzles are a little bit too simple, and some of the fight scenes are a bit repetitive.
But I did have fun harvesting objects in the world to build the gadgets, and the whole environmental changing keeps things a bit fun. Chickens, Badger?
I'm going for 7 out of 10 chickens for this one, Junk. It's a lot of fun for the kids, and I gave it extra points because Adam West voices one of the characters.
No time to talk. I've got a stack of pizzas that have to make it to Andromeda in the next half hour.
I'm giving it 6 out of 10 rubber chickens. It would have been nice to see some multiplayer action with the minigames. Not counting the DS port though, it's good to see movie tie-in games with a bit more thought and planning.
And let's hope it continues, because we've got a lot of games on the way. We've got Spider-Man, we've got Transformers, and also Pirates of the Caribbean.
I think they should make a movie out of Desperate Housewives.
Should we have a Desperate Housewife joke every episode, Junk?
I think that would be for the best.
Hi Kale, welcome to Good Game. So you're a phase change cooling expert. What exactly is phase change cooling?
What happens is there's a compressor which pumps refrigerant around the system, and it basically pumps liquid refrigerant first to the head, the copper block on top of the CPU, and as the heat on the CPU heats the head, it boils off the liquid and it changes state from a liquid state to a gaseous state, which is a vapor state.
So it's actually like having a fridge attached to your computer?
Yeah, basically that's it. Instead of having a big fridge, it's just cooling something which is like the size of an apple.
It sounds pretty complicated. Would you advise a home user to give it a try?
Normally I'd recommend people to start off on maybe water cooling or air cooling, and once they become more familiar with the hardware, they can move on to more stronger cooler.
So what kind of overclock can you achieve with a phase change cooler?
With processors, to make them go faster, you need to give them more power. And as you go faster, they produce a lot more heat. The sort of power that they run on these, without phase change, the CPU would hit over 100 degrees and burn and blow up. So with the cooling and the higher power, a CPU that would normally do 3.6 on water would now go to 4.2 or 4.5 gigahertz. The advantage is that a cheap CPU can go as fast as the best CPU around for a third of the price.
So when you go below zero, isn't condensation a problem?
Yes, normally when you freeze something, obviously white frost will form everywhere, and when you turn the PC off, that frost is going to turn to water and blow up your computer. So the deal with condensation, we have a few different methods in which we work together. We have these insulation gaskets which go on top of the motherboard, and they insulate around the socket so that the cold surfaces aren't exposed to the air and gather frost on top of them. On the back of the CPU we put just a normal grease compound, and we sort of smear it over the back of the CPU, so if any condensation was to form, it stops from getting in contact with the electronics.
Well Kyle, thanks for showing us your phase change cooling system, and good luck.
Cool, thanks for having me down here.
Once again, gamers, it's showdown time.
This week we're searching for the ultimate secret agent.
Now, this one didn't have that many entries on the forum, but each entry had quite a lot of discussion, Joe.
No surprises, the most famous of them all, James Bond, got a mention. That's right, GoldenEye on the 64.
Suave and debonair he may be, but he's a show pony compared to Sam Fisher from the Splinter Cell series. Now that's a man who knows the meaning of the word stealth.
Of course it wasn't a boys-only list. We had Tanya from Red Alert and Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark getting a mention.
Joanna, it's good to see you. Come with me. I'll walk you around the training rooms.
SB2 from the forum thinks G-Man from Half-Life should be mentioned.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine.
But let's be real, G-Man. Eventually you're going to have to fight your own battles.
Yeah, I think Gordon Freeman's earned a holiday by now. Can we get a man a holiday?
Well, as usual, Jung, it's hard to pick an absolute winner for the bestest secret agent. Sam Fisher came in a close second, but most of the votes went to Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid series.
A worthy recipient, in my opinion. Not only is Snake a badass, but Metal Gear Solid introduced the concept of stealth into gaming, and for that, we will forever be grateful. Snake, we salute you.
Each week on the show, we like to give away a Good Game shirt to the best review posted on our forums. This week, it's...
The MMO market, dominated by World of Warcraft, is an attractive proposition, engaging developers on their own quests to entice players and make lots of mika-ching-ching. But it's a crowded playing field, with over 10 new MMOs being released this year and development costs in the millions. The stakes are high. Aussie developer Oren decided it was worth the risk, and their game Fury is coming out later this year. Good Game went to Brisbane to find out more. So tell us a little bit about Fury and how is it different to the traditional MMOs?
You know, it's not really an MMO. We call it an MMO because there can be up to 1 million players in a single data center. It's a client-server system, but the realm structure is very different. Basically, everybody on your realm, your server, is your friend. Everybody on all the other servers are your opposition. No one's really done it this way before. We've really got this focused vision of being the best PvP game there is. The biggest difference in all is the pace of combat. It's just so much faster than a traditional RPG, and so really it feels a bit more like an FPS. It's a lot more adrenaline rush. You're rushing around like a mad thing, spamming abilities. You're in a battle for 10 minutes and then you're back in the sanctuary, customizing a character and figuring out which new ability. You know, why did I lose that fight? Was it because my team were no good, or was I missing a root or a snare, or did I need more firepower or more healing? And you customize your character, then you're back into the fight again. The goal is that it's primarily a skilled-based game. You know, from the lowest rank to the highest rank, there isn't the power differential isn't that great, so it's about 2 to 3 times, whereas say in WoW it's orders of magnitude. The guys with the good gear and the good teamwork will be at the top of the ranking system. The guys with the crap gear who don't, are just playing casually, and the pickup groups are down the bottom of the rankings.
There is something like 8 new MMOs coming out in 2007. That's including the WoW expansion. Do you think there's enough of a market for all these?
I suppose the straight answer to that is no. I think probably over half of them will fail. So the question, to rephrase your question a little bit, is there enough of a market for Fury? Yes, because we're different. We're offering people something that is not out there right now and that's really exciting and fun to play. Virtually all the new MMOs, they're greenfield MMOs. They basically take the standard formula, stick a whole load of monsters in a green field and let the players kill the monsters and progress. They're all the same. And I don't think that's really the experience that people are looking for. I think people found an interesting social and cooperative experience in those kind of games in the past, but I think they want to move beyond that.
One of the big changes we made quite late in the development cycle was that we got rid of the mana bar. One of the designers, he said at this meeting once, he's gone, can't we just get rid of it? Because it's like when I'm out of mana, I'm out of fun. And it was very true, like the pace the game was being played at, it's like when you ran out of mana, you'd go into defensive stance to recharge, and then you're waiting for it to go up and you go, oh great, now we can have fun again. So yeah, that one wasn't in the first doc, and I think it's one of the things that really creates the flow to this game is that 90% of the abilities are instant cast, so you can actually be running and swinging a sword or running and throwing a fireball, and it's really only for the big fireball that you actually need to stand and do a 2 or 3 second cast.
And how have you modified the Unreal Engine for your needs?
The Unreal Engine is designed to work on pretty fierce PC hardware. Your average gamer is pushed to afford that kind of hardware. So we've actually developed a complete parallel, what we call a rendering pipeline, that allows Fury to be run on low specification hardware. So you can run it on a much older PC that's only got a GeForce 4 Ti card. We are a massively multiplayer online game. Now nothing in the Unreal Engine supports that. We've had to develop all of that ourselves. first-person shooting games and action games like that, they're great fun, and that's fundamentally what the Unreal Engine is about. But they rely on a very low lag time. You've got to have very fast reactions. You've got to be able to move that mouse like crazy. You've got to be twitch. And if your computer is taking a quarter of a second to communicate that information to a server and back, you're going to lose the fight. Our game works over a much longer lag, so I can play against you if you're in America or even if you're in the UK. And the reason it does that is because we don't rely upon twitch reactions. We rely on fast thinking, but the targeting is done for you. So our combat engine is very different to an FPS.
Will there be local Australian servers?
If we can get 100,000 customers in Australia, then it's going to be worthwhile getting local servers. But if we don't have that sort of volume of players, then you're not going to get the throughput, and you're not going to get the even match, and therefore you're going to get pickup group against a clan, and that's not going to be any fun. So at this stage, it's West Coast America.
Will Fury be subscription-based?
We want to attract FPS guys and MMO guys. We look forward to having some very interesting discussions with the community as well, where we where we set the bar in terms of pricing and which things, without giving, I nearly gave away all the answers then. So let's just say that it's going to be a fairly revolutionary business model.
Where do I know that music from? Oh, good. Gravy on a grapefruit. It's time. It's all happening again.
Hey, what the frick, Toby? Give me my DS back.
I knew it! Pokemon!
Yeah, I know. Now give it back.
Kevin, I can't let you have this back. Last time they released a Pokemon RPG, you lost 4 months of your life.
No, seriously. Give it back before you have to start explaining to people how your boy parts got kicked inside out.
You only saw sunlight once when you went to your sister's wedding, and even then you didn't look up from your Game Boy.
I will cut you, you know. I'll slice you open like Han Solo did to that Tauntaun. I'll crawl inside you and I'll stay warm for the night while I challenge the 3rd gym leader.
Listen to yourself. You're an addict. This is madness.
Madness.
This is Pokemon!
Good game! What would happen if the Cold War never ended and America was invaded by Russia?
This is the scenario for World in Conflict, an RTS set for release later this year.
Nicholas Sidderstrom is the game's developer. He was in Australia recently and Good Game caught up with him.
We're getting reports from the Coast Guard about a developing situation at the harbor front. We have a lot of unmarked container ships approaching. They're refusing to identify themselves. Over.
World of Conflict is a fast-paced, action-oriented RTS game which have controls basically like a first-person shooter. It's very easy to get into and very easy to pick up and just go with your friends and get into some skirmishes and just blow people up. Basically, we had Larry Bond writing a plausible and believable invasion scenario. And he is one of the co-writers of Red Storm Rising with Tom Clancy, and he's a real Cold Era expert. And he wrote a scenario which he said, this is how I think that the Russians would act in this time period. People are very familiar with the game concept of having US being the big brother of us all and just going around and taking care of people, even though that in Europe we have a different view on things. I have to say I really love that we're fighting in US this time. But this time the Russian comes in and just goes through US and destroys things, and you are there to save the world, or US at least. I think that the US market has been really big, and it's not until 2-3 years ago that the European market started to pick up, and soon I think it's going to be equal to the US market. And I think we're going to see a lot of games taking advantage of that and focusing on European stories instead of US storylines.
Теперь освободите небеса. Освободите небеса.
We tried out the sci-fi setting with Ground Control 1 and 2. It didn't really work out that well for us. The game got raving reviews all around the globe. Everyone that picked up the game loved it, but not enough people picked it up. So basically it sold like not that many copies. So we don't want to go down that road again. And the World War II scenario has been overdone, all the games, and there are some great games out there that are in that setting, but we didn't want to go down that route. So basically what was left was fantasy or the Cold War. And we have some really passionate military hardware guys at Massive, and they just said, oh, Cold War, Cold War, Cold War. Also, Red Dawn. I don't know if you've seen the movie. It's an old 80s movie with Patrick Swayze, where the Russians actually invade some small town in the USA. When you see it now, it's pretty cheesy, but it was a great inspiration for a lot of people at Massive. We have been working really hard to make sure that all the units in the game are true to the time period. So we don't have any experimental weapons. All the things that you play and see in our game was available in 1989. When it comes down to the actual environments, we took some freedoms. We have some of the maps are made up towns, like Pine Valley. We just took a really nice US town and made it up from different concept arts and inspiration pictures. And then we also have downtown Seattle, which is a real area where we kept really true to how it looks in real life. We have decided early on, we did the same with Ground Control 1 and Ground Control 2, that we're not focusing on base building. We took all the resource harvesting out of the game. We have no base building that you need to build all those houses to get the units to come out and then you can fight. We focus on the action. So for our games, it's just get the troops in really fast. 15 seconds after you're into the game, you have the troops on the floor, on the ground, and you can just go and rip some heads off. And we have something we call simulated respawn, which is basically that when you lose your troops, you can instantly just order down new troops. It takes like 20 seconds or something, and then you're back again just like you were playing a first-person shooter, and you're respawning. And this allows us to do multiplayer drop-in. It's a feature that no other game has. So if all other games, they focus on sync start. Everyone has to be there when the game starts. In our game, if someone drops out in the middle of the match, someone else can just pick it up, because after 30 seconds they're on the same terms of everyone else. We're all gamers when it comes down to it, and since it has been a drought on the RTS market for a long time, having 3 games coming out the same year, maybe it's a bit too crowded for people, but I just love it. It's fun and it's great to play those games, and they're doing a great job, and I think people will, when our game hits later this year, it's gonna be great.
La la la, so you think you can't game.
In the rapidly changing world of gaming, there's a few home truths that gamers can always fall back on. Final Fantasy will always be long and epic, junglers will always have a soft spot for Desperate Housewives, and in the Zelda games, Link will always end up finding Ganondorf. Twilight Princess on the Nintendo Wii is no different, and traditionally while Ganondorf is a tough nut to crack, I'm going to give you a quick tip which will allow you to take him down pretty easily. The battle has various stages, from fending off your possessed fire-wielding girlfriend, to taking down Ganon when you're in human form, and then again in wolf form, to finally chasing down Ganondorf on horseback. After all of this, you'll have a one-on-one sword fight with Ganondorf, mano a mano. Despite all the fancy sword moves you might have learned throughout the game, Ganondorf can be quite a tricky character, because he'll block a lot of your attacks. And even though he's tough, he's not too bright. So pull out your fishing rod and wave that around his face for a bit. He'll get distracted and lower his guard, giving you enough time to pull out your sword and get in a few attacks. Repeat this as necessary and he'll go down. Congratulations, you've just saved Hyrule once again and you can give your arms a break. Until next week, this is Aya, out.
Now earlier we reviewed Meet the Robinsons, which is about as multi-platform, high production value, high budget as you can get. Now for something completely different.
Mountain Blade is a single-player RPG medieval game developed by an independent team in Turkey, a husband and wife in fact. The husband does all of the programming and the wife does the artwork.
The game's still in beta and I think it's version 0.808 at the moment. It's free for the first 6 levels if you want to download it, but should you want to purchase it, it's under 30 Aussie dollars.
Your character begins in a small coastal country locked in feudal warfare with its neighbour.
From there on, it's pretty much familiar RPG territory. You create a character, you give it stats, you send it off into the world to gain skills. And for an indie game, I found the graphics to be not that bad.
Pretty much the first thing that you notice that this game does really well is the combat system. It's very intuitive. All of your attacking and defending is basically done with the mouse.
The parry system actually reminded me a lot of the counter system in Dead or Alive series. And there's also no magic, no beasts, no sorcery or anything like that.
There's a lot of mounted combat as well as ground combat, and there's a whole variety of medieval weapons for your choosing.
You can go into arena combat and be a gladiator, and you can even bet on yourself, which is the fastest way of accumulating money in the game. If you're lucky, while you're exploring the map, you can also come across a battle and take part.
And the battles were easily the best part of the game, Jung. And you can go in there and be suicidal as well, because if you die, you just respawn. And there's a lot of units on the screen too. In one battle I was in, that was 40 versus 70. It was hectic.
Sadly, where Mountain Blade lets you down is everywhere else.
The quests and exploration are very slow and adds a whole slow-paced feel to the game. It just takes way too long to get XP and also to skill up.
And it takes way too long to get enough money to buy good gear as well. An RPG depends on a good reward system, and this is where Mountain Blade is failing us at the moment. The option to recruit troops under your command is a good addition as well, but again, it takes way too long to get to that stage of the game.
Yeah, but you got to hand it to them. It's no small feat to undertake a game of this magnitude, and it's good to see independent developers getting their games made.
Absolutely, and you know, it's not even finished yet, which is why rubber chickens don't apply here. RPG fans, it might be worth checking out.
So gamers, did you guess the game for this week?
It was the Sega classic Golden Axe, the side-scrolling fantasy beat-em-up.
You had your choice of a barbarian, a dwarf, or a beautiful, luscious Amazonian woman. I think we all know the one I went for, John.
No?
Little dwarf.
Ah. The game made it onto consoles and PCs and spawned several sequels and spin-offs.
Time for us to go, John. No! But the credits are upon us!
Next week we analyze the trend of in-game advertising. Good, bad, or just plain ugly, Good Game investigates.
And we take on Lord of the Rings Online, Shadows of Angmar. Could this be the one game that rules them all?
It's looking precious to me.
Till next week, Barjo out.
Junglist out.